Okay, quick breakdown. So on the census.gov, they will tell you that, hey, a lot of documents like censuses, okay, like the census documents, were burned by the British or the English or whoever else. They're not going to tell you the truth. During the wars of 1812, 1790, and 1800, and a good portion of 1810. So that means a lot of the records were burned by YT folks. Around the time that the importation of slaves from Africa or anywhere else outside of the United States was banned, okay, 1808. They burnt all the documents, coincidentally, after banning slavery or, people being imported as slaves. But they also didn't require, supposedly, slave ship manifest until about the same 1808 time. It's just like that reconstruction of history. Now, when you go in to look for slave ship manifest, this is the one you want to look at: foreign inward slave manifest. All of these other ones are going intracontinental, meaning they're going from Alabama to Savannah or Georgia to New York or whatever. So you got to click that one. And when you do, they only have the years from 1789 to 1798. Now, during this time, supposedly, at least between 1700 to 1715 to 1808, supposedly that's when the 300,000 so-called slaves came in. But when you get to the when you get to the slave ship manifest that are foreign, inward, outward, only 36 images are here. What does that mean? Only 36 of these little pages are here. And most of them don't even carry that many slaves. This says slaves 40, another 33111. So it's barely even 50 people, which is about right for the type of ship this is. It's a schooner, or right here it says it's a schooner, which has a capacity of about 60 people. So they pretty much got it near its capacity. But on top of that, and it said it went to, I think, the state of Rhode Island right here. And it says it's coming from Gori, Africa. So they actually have a slave ship manifest of some place coming from Africa with some slaves. But they only have 36 of them. And it's nowhere near 40 times 36. Even if they all have 40, which they don't, you would barely even reach a couple thou, if that. So what am I getting to? They never had proof of the documents that a ton of African slaves were coming here. Otherwise they would show you, just like they showed those 36 images. Okay, so they don't have that. But if you're going to reconstruct history, then you will document that all these slaves came in during a time where you have zero documentation. Because they didn't start counting people until 1790. And even in 1790, they only had enough people in the colonies because the Louisiana Purchase didn't send them to the West yet to count the people that they count later, like in Alabama and Louisiana. But regardless of that, so coincidentally, when you start counting people in 1790, you burn all the documents. And then you say, hey, we also going to put on this document, even though we don't have the documentation from the years prior, that from 1715, which we don't have documents on, to 1808, which we only have documents from 1790 in the colonies. From that time, 333,000 people came over here. Now, all of these were Negroes. Some came from the British West Indies. Some came from so-called Africa, but we don't have any documentation. We're just going to write it on this paper, and you're just going to have to believe the shit because that's just what it's going to have to be. So, yeah, when people start to tell you they got proof of Africans being here, if you tell me you got proof of somebody coming on a boat and you ain't got one of these 36 images, you're lying, and quit playing.